Good morning, everybody. Appreciate y'all tuning in the channel this morning. It's sorry about the glare. I'm driving. We on 65 north, about 20 miles south of Huntsville. It's a Saturday morning. It was nice at home. It's kind of cloudy and rainy and stuff up here, but we just cruising along the old LS swapped S10 we got here, and we're headed to Huntsville to pick up a motor for the 57. Now this is a short block 427 big block Chevrolet. It's a ZZ 427 crate motor short block with a different cam and lifters. Pretty stoked about this, so and I'll have to show y'all a little bit more about it, but man, there's two things that really turned me on to cars. You know, I always liked cars, always into hot rodding, but there was two things that just really turned me on to them. Like, you know, it's just been downhill ever since. And it's a magazine I've got, my dad gave me, where I think it was a fella out in like Iowa or something, had 21 18-wheeler trailers and a house and barn full of high performance Chevrolet 60s and early 70s cars and parts. And that was a 69 Camaro, Yenko Camaro with a 427 in it. And that's the one that just really got me hooked. So always had a thing for a 427 big block Chevrolet. Always heard the stories, always read it in the magazines and all that cool stuff. So what's cooler than a 57 two-door post 150 with a 427 big block Chevrolet in it? I mean, I don't know. There's probably some stuff out there, but there ain't much. So we're headed up here to pick up this short block. We're going to, put rings in it. It's got low tension rings in it. We're going to put bearings in it if it needs it, freshen it up. I've ordered a set of aluminum heads for it. Obviously this will be down the road, but this was a good price on this short block. So, I'm getting a short block with forged crank rods and pistons in it, full bolt main, GM Performance Gen 6 big block, and an oil pan for less than I could have put a set of rods and a crankshaft in that tall deck block, and that block's got to have machine work. So here we are, 4.5 hours from the house, getting a block. Anyway, if the guy will let me film a little bit when I get there, I'll show y'all a little bit more about it. But if any of y'all ever watch Power Nation, this exact short block is out of the Lime Dime round body single cab S10 they built on the show. They run nitrous through it. It's got a Lunati cam in it, Lunati link bar roller lifters. The man I'm getting it from had another motor built for the truck. He wanted to run 7.0s on motor. This 427 with GM Performance aluminum heads runs 720s on pump gas in the 8th, which is pretty stout, 3,400 pound truck. So anyway, guys, we're gonna go get this thing, let y'all check it out. We're in Huntsville, y'all, check it out. It's the Lime Dime up here getting this 427 short block. This is the Power Nation truck it came out of. It's got a little more motor in it now. It's got a power glide now as well. We're getting the Turbo 400. Gonna pick that up from my buddy Jody. And there's the short block. Pretty stoked about that. Got a 427, got a big block. I'll stick it in that old 57 Chevrolet we got. But man, check this old truck out. This thing is killer. Rear mount, radiator, both fuel cells. Got a killer 9-inch up under the bottom of it. There you go. We're gonna get this motor loaded up and get out of here. All right, y'all, we're back on the road. I think we're headed west at the moment, but we'll be headed south soon enough. We're east of Huntsville, I believe is where we are. Steve was a super cool dude. We got the short block. We got that TCI Turbo 400. It's got a reverse manual valve body and a trans brake with the converter for my buddy Judy. He's gonna put it behind one of them old small block Fords, I do believe, with some kind of Wu-Tang whistle, tsunami air twirler thing on it. Most likely, he's a big turbo guy. But Who knows? He's been talking about Pro Chargers lately, so there's no telling with Judy. But we are headed to the house. Should be there. You know, it's like a little over. It's like 4.5 hours to the shop. So, you know, that's where we're headed because we got to get this stuff off the truck. Don't want it to get rained on any more than it's already going to get rained on. But Steve was a super cool guy. Hooked us up. Got the motor all wrapped up with trash bags. He actually gave me one of those engine transport cradles. Came with the motor, which was really exciting. I didn't expect that. I've been needing one of those for a long time. I'm just too cheap to buy one, I guess. But got a 427 short deck, forged crank, forged rods, forged pistons. It's got low tension rings, so we're gonna have to change the rings for sure. You know, we'll pull it apart and inspect everything in it. Obviously, if it needs bearings, we'll put bearings in it. Got a Myodon oil pan with it. Gonna have to get a pump and pickup. And I got the push rods from him as well. It's got a Lunati hydraulic roller cam in it and hydraulic Lunati roller link bar lifters in it. So all in all, been a great trip. The Lime Dime's really cool to see in person. You know, that S10's from Power Nation, so y'all got to see a little bit of that. And he had a really sweet, I should have got some footage of it, but he's got a really sweet 67 Camaro drag car. That's about it, guys. Got this real fun 4.5 hour drive to make, so you know, maybe the weather will be a little bit better on the way back because it wasn't great on the way up here. Anyway, y'all hang out with us. Well, guys, I'll run out of gas. But check this out. I'm guessing this is because of the weight in the bed of the truck. But there's my gas thing. Got 1/8 of a tank, but I ain't got no gas in it. So I'm in Birmingham, Alabama. Sitting on the side of the interstate. Just waiting on somebody to bring me some gas. I made it home. Look at this, y'all. It is 7 o'clock. I should have been home. I should have been at the shop, which is another 30 minutes. I should have been at the shop at 4:30. It's 7 o'clock, but we're home. We missed most of the rain. This old 427 Chevrolet, ZZ 427 crate motor short block. Should be pretty well good. Oil pan, Jody's transmission. I'm gonna get the converter from him. But we made it. So here's my theory, okay? I mean, everybody makes mistakes, but obviously I made one, wasn't paying enough attention. Here's my theory though. Because of the weight in the back of the truck, the gauge isn't reading right. So on dead empty, it was reading 1/8 of a tank. When I filled it up, the normal click off full, like the first click when it cuts off automatically, normally it's like right at the full line, just a hair over, maybe a needle's width. It was like pegging down past the F. So it does not read accurately when the truck's got a little bit of a squat to it. So that's my theory. But we made it home. Guys, it took me forever to find somebody to bring me some gas in Birmingham, Alabama. And I got a cousin who lives there. I didn't even think to be like, hey, you know, what's up? Could you bring me some gas? I didn't do that. So, but Papa Lock services, people that unlock your cars, will bring you $5 worth of gas for $60. But I gotta say, like, I don't have any complaints about that, for real. I gotta give a big shout out to Mike from Papa Lock, Birmingham. I appreciate you bringing me some gas, dude. That was definitely a lifesaver there. So we made it home. Got us a big block. We'll get it unloaded, talk about it some more, do fun stuff like that. But I just wanted to show y'all that I made it, because, you know, it's dark and it's raining, but we like in between all the rain somehow, because it was just storming here. And we're back at the shop. I got the 427 still in the truck. I set the Turbo 400 on one of them awesome China Freight furniture dollies. It's great for that kind of stuff. Figured I'd show y'all, we got some parts back from the machine shop. Pontiac crank's been polished. Finally got the stroker crank back. It's it only took 4 months, so you know, glad to have that back. But I'm gonna turn this around and show y'all some of this stuff, and then I got to move this G35 so I can back the truck under the chain fall and get the motor out of the truck. So here you go. Here we are. 383 stroker crank for the Chevy 2. It's back. It's got to be cleaned, obviously. So that's good. Pontiac crank is back. It's been polished. It should be good to go. I'm gonna knock all these hard edges off of this thing because they're stress points, and that's what you should do, even though it's a lot of extra work and you gotta be careful doing it. We got oil pan for the big block Chevy, 9-inch converter off that Turbo 400. Jody's gonna let me get this from him. I'm gonna run this in the Pontiac. It's a little bit higher stall, but it's a smaller converter, so less rotational mass, so the motor should rev better, make more power. These are the push rods out of the 427 that was in the Lime Dime on Power Nation. So, got those. Steve, the guy I got the motor from, got to give a shout out to him. This was a pretty good buy on this motor. Great buy on the transmission for Jody, but he let me get the push rods from him as well, so I want to give him a shout out for that. I appreciate that, Steve. Steve's a cool guy. Got a cool Camaro. I wish I'd have shot some footage on it. Here's our 427. Obviously we're gonna take it apart, clean it, inspect everything, but forged pistons, rods, and crank. It's a Gen 6 Chevrolet Performance 4-bolt main block. It is 427 cubic inches. That looks like an odometer oil pressure sending unit. That's pretty cool. Although it's not supposed to turn there. It might not be any good, but that's cool. This is a ZZ 427 short block. Basically, it's got a different cam and lifters in it. Other than that, it's a GM Performance crate motor. So it's all good. We're gonna get it out of here. Just gotta get the old G35 moved. Got it unloaded. There's Jody's Turbo 400. This is a TCI with a reverse manual valve body and a trans brake. Pretty stout transmission. That was a good buy right there for Jody. Here's the 427. I noticed something that I don't know, it might just be my eyeballs, but that looks a little crooked and I can't turn it, and it don't look like it's in there very far. So I got the, let me see here, let me switch this camera. I got the one size fits all wrench. It's a little gnarly. Might have to figure out what size that is and run a tap in it, because it's not wanting to go in straight. But no big deal. This is a grade 8 bolt with some kind of aluminum washer on it and another washer, and I'm sure that's probably fine, but I run ARP balancer bolts in everything. Y'all saw that with the small block in the Chevy 2. That balancer bolt bent, but that expensive ARP bolt probably saved us from a lot more damage by it not kicking the balancer completely off of it. It's got ARP timing cover hardware. I thought that was plastic. That's aluminum. But let's see. It's got a, I don't know if y'all be able to see it down in there. It looks like a double roller timing chain. Here comes the man. Hey. Yeah, that's your mail. But we're gonna go through this motor and clean it up, obviously, and do some tricks and whatnot. You know, get it ready to go. GM 7.4 liter. It's pretty cool.
Is that a 427?
That is a 427, sir.
427.
Believe we got,
Clean.
yeah. You believe we got one?
Yeah, finally. All my life I wanted one.
Yeah, we got one now. It's heavy.
Farm out. Farm out.
I took.
Right arm. Right arm.
I picked it up and just set it on the ground.
You did?
No.
I don't blame you.
No, I couldn't do that. I set the Turbo 400 down, but after I set Turbo 400 down, I kind of thought better about picking up that big block.
Yeah, you'd be going to physical therapy with me.
Yeah. I like your shirt.
Thank you.
Where'd you get it?
I don't know.
Well, I like it.
I don't know.
How's your physical therapy people feel about it?
Oh, I don't know. The way they treated me, I'd say they don't like it. Mr. Kitty.
The top end for our big block came in. So I ordered this on Cyber Monday from Speedmaster79.com. They had a big sale on this. I don't know if y'all watch Tony Angelo on YouTube. He's got their blower on his Pontiac, and he's actually got a code through the end of the year. They're going to run the same special if you use his code. And I don't remember what it is, but I know it's on his Instagram. So if y'all go check that out, you can get a blower at the same price as Cyber Monday, which I would love to do, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that before the end of the year because it's Christmas. You know, we got to buy people presents and spend time with family and take time off work and do all that important stuff. And, you know, there's always next year because obviously we don't even have this motor together yet. So that being said, I'm going to turn this around and let y'all check it out. This is their big block Chevy oval port top end kit. Now, I priced it out. It was cheaper to do the whole top end kit than it was to do just the heads and then the stuff individually. So this is what I did. It's like $1,300, which is not bad. We're going to tear the heads apart, inspect them, you know, check everything. I'm going to clean the casting up a little bit. These are cast heads. As cast, I think, is the finish on them, but I'll let y'all check them out. It's pretty sweet stuff. All right, so just a little bit left to be desired. I'm sorry, with the box. Like, it's a little mushed up. Small block head would be good in this box. This is not really great packaging for the big block head, in my opinion. Let me see here if I can set y'all up where you can see it. I don't have my tripod, guys. It's in the truck. Oh. Now these are awesome. And guys, where they milled the surfaces on these heads, where they milled the surfaces on these heads, they have got some sharp edges. So I'll probably deburr all this stuff, knock the edges off of it, because I mean it's really pretty sharp. But they look pretty good. I'm gonna clean them up a little bit. Nothing crazy, because they should flow more than we're gonna need. And I went with oval port heads. I went with oval port heads. David Vizar, if you guys like to study stuff, David Vizar's got a lot of information, but velocity is a lot more important than runner volume. So like with a rec port head, you're gonna get more volume, but if you cut down on the velocity, unless it's like a really big cubic inch all out race motor with a bunch of compression, you're not gonna use it. So this motor with these heads, this 427, should make more power with these oval port heads than it would with a big rec port head. But big old valves in this thing, and they're 119 cc combustion chambers. I can't remember. I want to say they're. I will look these up and let you know in just a second. I don't know where my paperwork is, but they're nice heads. They look good. Let's turn it back around. Dual springs. Complete assembled. So I like them. Okay, so they are a 305 cc intake runner volume. I don't know. They're not in CFM on the website. It's got a 119 cc combustion chamber. It's got a 225 intake valve and a 188 exhaust. The springs are supposed to be like for 580 lift. Probably try and measure the springs, take them somewhere and let somebody measure them and see if they're actually going to be all right, or if we should put a little bit better spring on them, because I don't want to break a valve spring. Because we've got a 625 lift cam. It's a Lunati hydraulic roller, and it's a 625 lift cam, intake and exhaust. So definitely want to make sure we got enough valve spring. But that's the head. And guys, this was like right over $1,300. This is they call it their 396 top end kit. But I was worried about, there you go. I was worried about velocity. I wanted velocity more than volume, because it's a street motor. Most of the time it's going to live down low. I think the ZZ427, if you read the book on it, that motor, they recommend like 6,400 RPM. Obviously, we have a camshaft change. And in the video on Power Nation with the Lime Dime, when they put that truck together, they twisted a little harder than that. But I mean, it's going to go in a 57 Chevy and live on the street, so it's not necessary. We're not going to turn it that hard. So this should be a really good flowing head. Aluminum big block heads, and I looked for factory cast iron heads that were good performance heads on Facebook Marketplace and all that before I made my decision. But I was going to have over $1,000 tied up in refreshing a set after I bought the heads, and then having to refresh a set of cast iron factory Chevrolet heads. So this made a lot more sense to me. Buy a fresh set, ready to run, set of aluminum heads, whole top end kit, guys. So we got a pair of heads assembled, ready to run. We got an intake manifold, a set of valve covers, rocker arms, head gaskets, exhaust gaskets, intake gaskets, guide plates, rocker arm studs, and head studs for $1,300. I don't see where you can go wrong with that. As long as the stuff's quality enough to hold up. It's not a big race car, so it'll be great for a street motor, and I'm finna show you all the rest of it. Here's the intake manifold. Get the head box back up. And open that up. It's a dual plane oval port intake. Looks pretty good. not going to take it out of the bag just to keep all this stuff clean because it's going to be a little while before we do anything with it. But it's a good looking intake manifold. And of course we'll port match everything, and I'll clean everything up best I can. You know, when we get ready to do all that, we'll walk you through everything we do, all the extra little oiling tricks, and I mean, gasket match, always gasket match, but I actually clean the ports up a little bit more than that, and up inside the runners, anywhere there's cast and flash or any issues, just because you're leaving power on the table over a little bit of labor. You know, it doesn't cost anything. It's just time. So guys, that's the intake. These are the valve covers that came with it. They're nice, polished, tall, big block Chevrolet valve covers. Here's the hardware for them. Probably not going to run these. Dad had a good idea earlier about running them on the LS when we do that in the gasser in the Chevy 2 to hide the coil packs and all that. I've also got a set of Holley finned valve covers for an LS that we might run. Just kind of depends on how that all turns out when the time comes. Here's the cool ones. So this is a set of vintage Mickey Thompson big block Chevrolet valve covers. Dad got me these when we were at Moultrie at the swap meet. We got a pair. They're cool. Mickey Thompson Chevrolet 396 to 427. But pretty awesome. They need some love, need some cleaning. But what doesn't, right? Those things are so cool. I love these old Mickey Thompson valve covers. As you know, I got another set for the Pontiac. Right there. These are guide plates, rocker arm studs. These are our head gaskets. We want the whole kit. Now this doesn't all come in the kit. I had to order some of this separately. The head studs were separate. The exhaust manifold gaskets were separate. These are 12-point nuts. The studs. Guys, if I understood it correctly, Speedmaster's starting in Australia. They got I'm assuming it's a drop shipper in Los Angeles, and then they got Shanghai on here, so I'm assuming that's where a lot of the stuff's made now. But we went with this kit because I could get a whole aluminum head top-end kit for a big block Chevrolet for what a single head normally costs. And we do, you know, we try to spend money where it's needed, running gear-wise, brakes, stuff like that. The cars, maybe not so much. But, I mean, this stuff seems to be pretty decent quality. Obviously, we're going to find out. And we're going to take it apart and inspect it and everything. But, I mean, these are beefy rocker arms. But I did some reading online and watched some reviews and stuff. And, I mean, Speedmaster seems to have some really decent stuff, guys. Especially for the money, man. You can't beat it. I mean, a whole top end for what a single head normally costs. Went with the copper head gaskets. I've been looking at probably a set of Patriot fender well headers. And reading online, they'll work in a Chevy 2 that will set up the same way ours is with the gasser front end. Or the 57 Chevrolet. They're actually 57 Chevrolet fender well headers. And so the plan with that, we're probably going to go ahead and build the big block and put it in the Chevy 2 because I don't think we're missing much. We've got a water pump. We're going to have to buy a balancer. We're going to pull the short block apart and inspect everything, clean it, do the little oiling tricks and all that stuff to the block itself. Set of bearings if they're needed. Definitely a set of rings because it's got low tension rings in it, and I don't want to run a vacuum pump on the street. That's just something else to fool with. So that's kind of where we're at. The distributor we've got should work. I think we have to put a bronze cam gear on it. It might already have one. I can't remember. I'm thinking like a race bred 850 would be enough carburetor. This is a pump gas 10-to-1 motor. Nothing too wild. It should make gobs of torque. We'll pull stumps with it. Do big fat burnouts. But honestly, I'm thinking we'll go ahead and build the big block and stuff it in this car because this car's sitting here and I want to drive it. And we don't lack much. of being able to do that, and then we'll go ahead and rebuild the stroker that was in this car and put it in the Muncie that was behind it in Dad's truck. That's kind of where I'm at, just idea-wise, what I think I want to do. We're going to go ahead and start working on the Pontiac motor too, get that short block put together. I'm going to save up a little more and try to get a better set of heads for that motor, because these 4X, 4H heads have got big combustion chambers and small valves. I'd like to get a little bit better head, and I can get a decent set for like another, couple $100. So I think that's worth it. Just go ahead and do it. But that's the plan. That's kind of where we're at. Got customer cars to work on. But I figured y'all dig the big block stuff. It's my first big block Chevrolet, and it's a 427. Been wanting one of those forever. That's kind of, to me, the epitome of Chevrolet motors, was a 427 big block. And then once we get all that said and done, if we put the 427 in the gasser, I'll beat on and enjoy that car for a while. And once we get the 6.2 built, because I want to LS that car, I want to build a drag and drive car out of that. I love gassers, and I think it'd be really cool. Then we're going to take the 427 out and stuff it in that 57 150 two-door post car we've got. Why not? I think a 57 Chevrolet needs a big block. So that's the plan. Hope y'all enjoyed it. I know it's a lot of talking, a lot of riding in the truck. Nothing too exciting. Guys, if you pull your help reliefs out of your S10 and then put a big block Chevrolet in the back of it, get gas before you get below a quarter tank, because you might just run out. But other than that, I appreciate y'all watching the video. I really appreciate all our new subscribers. We have grown quite a bit in the last few weeks. I'm glad y'all are enjoying these old crusty car videos and the junkyard stuff. I love all that. And we got, I think, like a little over 1,300 subscribers now. So I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good one.